A thread titled, "Is Demogorgon the Best Pack?" has the DDO General Discussion Forums, asking a question players have not seriously debated in years. Has Standing Stone Games finally produced an expansion that rivals, or beats, Mists of Ravenloft? The replies are pouring in, and the answer is more nuanced than a simple yes or no. Mists of Ravenloft, released in 2017, is widely considered the benchmark for DDO expansions. It brought players into the gothic horror setting of Barovia, with a massive open explorer zone, automatic teleports directly to quest entrances, and 2 raids. It launched shortly after Reaper mode was introduced, following the widely disliked Shadowfell Conspiracy expansion, which gave it an extra shine. Terror of Demogorgon is the game's 10th expansion, launching with Update 81 in summer 2026. Set in the Underdark and based on the module Out of the Abyss, it includes 13 quests at heroic and legendary tiers, the Darklake Wilderness Zone, and a level cap raised to 36. The raid, however, has not yet released. The thread titled, "Is Demogorgon the Best Pack?" opens with poster Slamandrak fresh off a Ravenloft run, wondering which expansion comes out on top, even setting items aside. The early replies land somewhere between enthusiasm and caution. Tyrant, Jack Jarvis Esquire, Afterhuman, and Tanners for Troll all give Demogorgon high marks but flag the same missing piece. The raid has not dropped yet. Ravenloft shipped with 2 raids, the Strad Encounter and the Amber Temple, while Demogorgon's raid is still upcoming. Poster Primus cuts through the hedging with the most liked response in the thread, noting that simply being compared to Ravenloft is itself a win for the development team. Sarandra is the sharpest early dissenter, saying Demogorgon does not crack their personal top 5 at all. Several posters lay out exactly why Mists of Ravenloft remains the benchmark. Tyrant lists 3 specific advantages: 2 raids to Demogorgon's current 0, a Barovia Explorer area that dwarfs Darklake in scale, and automatic teleports directly to quest entrances. Dryaza echoes all 3 points. Geezer adds that the lack of quest teleports in Demogorgon is a real quality of life step back that many players will not forgive. On story, Ranger 1 draws the sharpest contrast. Ravenloft's emotional arc of helping Irina fight darkness feels genuinely compelling, while Demogorgon's quest loop reduces to go find this stuff so I can make a spell. Torm goes further, calling Demogorgon's storyline very patchy, and praising Ravenloft coherence across both of its expansions, Curse of Strad and Chill of Ravenloft, as something Demogorgon simply does not match. Supporters point to several concrete strengths. Squire Zed calls Demogorgon's environmental design some of the best in years, technically and aesthetically superior to Ravenloft. Axemania praises both the leveling gear and the in-game offerings, calling the quests fun and the environments beautiful. The most specific case comes from Underflow, who highlights the oozing hunger weapons. These are raid-tier items farmable through a single saga run, accessible to any character at level 35. Underflow notes the Jubilex orb grind required to craft them is far less brutal than the equivalent grind in Vecna Unleashed for corrupted weaponry, making these weapons genuinely accessible rather than aspirational. Tamidian adds that Demogorgon's crafting setup echoes the streamlined approach of classic expansions like Menace of the Underdark and Mists of Ravenloft, with catalyst drops helping keep older named loot relevant. A persistent counterargument runs through the later posts. Is the excitement real, or just the glow of novelty? Mave2e suspects players rating Demogorgon so highly are simply enjoying something new and fresh. Jack Jarvis Esquire pushes back directly, noting that newness applies to every release, and that this is the first expansion since Ravenloft to genuinely rekindle his enthusiasm, after being disappointed by Masterminds of Sharn and underwhelmed by Myth Draenor and Lamortia. Squire Zed makes a similar point more cautiously, acknowledging they will probably feel differently about Demogorgon when it is nearly 10 years old. Tamidian offers useful framing. Both Ravenloft and Demogorgon launched after strings of weaker expansions. Ravenloft followed Shadowfell Conspiracy, which Tamidian calls absolutely terrible. Demogorgon follows Saltmarsh and Vecna Unleashed, which Tamidian rates even worse, giving both expansions a perceptual boost from low expectations. The thread's mood is broadly warm toward Demogorgon, an uncommon tone for the DDO forums, though most players resist declaring a winner outright. The primary divide sits between those who keep Ravenloft first on the strength of 2 raids, quest teleports, a vast Barovia Slayer zone, and a more emotionally resonant story, and those who see Demogorgon matching or exceeding it on visual design, gear accessibility, and crafting quality. Sarlona rating adds a practical dimension. Ravenloft is already fading in reward value at the new level 36 cap, with reduced experience, fewer remnants in group play, and lower-level augment drops. The handful of voices who prefer entirely different expansions, Saltmarsh, Mythdraenor, largely stay on the sidelines of the main debate. The 2 most discussed arguments are Underflow's case for oozing hunger weapons and Torm's critique of Demogorgon's item agency. Underflow showed how raid-tier weapons become accessible through a single saga run, a meaningful entry point for players not yet raiding. Torm argued the opposite, calling Demogorgon's loot the lowest player agency yet, and contrasting it directly with the high agency of chill of Ravenloft's item design. Jack Jarvis Esquire's declaration that this is the first expansion to get his mojo back since Ravenloft captures the optimism of Demogorgon's defenders. Ranger 1's story comparison, helping Irina fight darkness versus collecting ingredients for a spell, resonates with the Ravenloft camp and gives the narrative critique its sharpest edge in the thread. Thread titled, "Is Demogorgon the best pack?" does not reach a verdict, and most players agree it probably should not yet, not until the raid lands. Whether Demogorgon ultimately surpasses Ravenloft may come down to what that raid delivers. That's the report on this thread. The discussion continues on the official forums. See you in the dungeons.